Welcome. It's great to have you all here with us. You know, when you're schooling from home, you need to stay coordinated. And so the other day, I got the family together, the wife and the kids, and we kind of went through things. And as we were getting ready to wrap up, my wife said, "Okay, does anybody else have anything else they want to say?" So I stood up and I said, "Plethora." And she said, "Thank you. That means a lot." She's pretty smart, but someone will explain that to you later if you didn't get it. But a little bit of science news today. Astrophysicists, including Professor Heidi Newberg, have developed a conceptual design for a new space telescope that they want to build. This one's about the size of the James Webb telescope that you all know about. But this one, instead of having a round mirror that is about 21 feet in diameter, instead it would be just 3 feet tall and 66 feet wide. This big rectangle mirror. And they want to use this telescope, if they can get it built, to be able to search for planets like Earth that have water that's actually water, not vapor. And if they could do that, they think they may be able to find planets that have life on them, or at least the best candidates for it. I'm thinking maybe they're going to find planet Pajet. Maybe, you don't know. All right, well, it's time to get it over to Dr. Joshua for How to Study with Acellus Gold.
So good to welcome all of the families who are joining us for the first time that just started on Acellus. And one of the really exciting things about Acellus Gold is that every time you complete a lesson or an exam, you earn just a little bit of gold. And this reinforces the idea that the knowledge that you're gaining as you study has value. You're empowering your future. And so as your gold increases, you see that number of gold credits increase. And you may have noticed there's a place called the Acellus Store in your interface where you can go and redeem that gold for merchandise. And today we want to check in with one of our students and see what he did with his gold. Take a look. Well, remember to study hard. Thank you.
Well, it's time to get it over to Dr. John with the Technology Spotlight.
We're going to talk about Wi-Fi. And you probably have used Wi-Fi, whether you knew it or not. Why? Because it's the way that our devices connect to the internet without using a wire. You know how you can have a smartphone and you're on the internet doing all kinds of neat stuff and there's no wire. That's because of the Wi-Fi, which is a radio signal interface that allows the internet data to get to your device. But what if you could use Wi-Fi for more than just internet? Why? Well, I'd say, why not? Some researchers at UC Santa Clara have been working on a way to measure your heart rate with Wi-Fi. That's not what you were expecting, probably. But it turns out that all the time when you're using a Wi-Fi device, you have a certain amount of noise, and the signal is going up and down, the signal strength. And they realized that that's a lot of data. And they used a really affordable Wi-Fi access point. This is the thing that sends the internet signals. And then they used a Raspberry Pi. Yum, right? Actually, most of you may know that that's a little computer. And it's about $30, and it has everything built into it, this little teeny circuit boards that's the computer. And so they hooked it up so they could sense the Wi-Fi signal, and they could pick it up and see the signal strength with the Raspberry Pi. And then that's where it started to get really interesting, because when your heart beats, it actually moves your chest. And you don't notice it because it's, just like a millimeter or two. And that happens every time you have a heartbeat. And that change is enough to change the Wi-Fi signal and be something that they can actually pick up. And so they started with the actual raw data, and it looked chaotic. It was a whole bunch of noise. And then they ran it through a whole bunch of filters, and they were looking for a signal that was within the range of maybe 48 beats per minute to 130 beats per minute, where you would expect a heartbeat to be. And then they had a little bit of something to look at, and then they ran it through a machine learning algorithm to use that to figure out exactly what the heart rate is. So that pulls out, any little imperfections that come in. And amazingly, they were able to get it down to an accuracy of 0.14 beats per minute, within 0.14, which is good enough that they could use it in a clinical environment. And that's pretty impressive. And it actually worked even if the person they were measuring was walking around in different positions and things like that. And so they're experimenting now with the possibility of detecting breathing in the same way. And they call it PulseFi. That's their catchy name, sort of catchy. I think if they start doing breathing, maybe they'll start monitoring what we're saying, and maybe we should call it SpyFi or something like that. Interesting. Another thing I realized, though, is I'm not sure if they tested with people listening to music and dancing. Specifically music that has the right rhythm, like a boom, 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 boom. I think that might mess it up just a little bit. We'll have to see. Speaking of science fair project, this is kind of a science fair project budget with the hardware and stuff. It's really interesting how certain music with that rhythm, kind of like a heart rate, has been shown to actually change your heart rate. And so it can affect your blood pressure and stuff like that. I feel a Inventioneer Science Fair project coming on for somebody. That's some neat stuff. But it's amazing what we can do with Wi-Fi. And instead of having to have devices that we wear, it can be something that's passive, that's always there, that's always monitoring. And, you have to have Wi-Fi, but who doesn't have Wi-Fi? It's very, very common. This would just be an additional software running on what we already have. So you never know what might come next. Hopefully not SpyFi, but we'll see. And that's all the tech we have the time for. Thank you.
Now it's time for Breakthrough Moments in Science with Tobias.
So, I want you to try to imagine that you don't know hardly anything about science. Some of you guys are like, that's not hard. But no, imagine you knew hardly anything of the science we know today, and try to imagine an explanation for how the world works. And we're going to talk about a time kind of like that back when the world was broken down in the science world by 4 elements, right? You got the earth, the wind, the fire, and the water, okay? Well, those 4 elements was basically how we understood what the building blocks of the world were. And then they had really special things for explanations of special phenomena like fire. So if you can think of, how do you explain fire? And the science community actually came up with a solution, and it was, well, fire is this really special thing being released. It's kind of magic. It's called phlogiston, is what they named it. And it was basically when fire is burning, the heat you feel, the light you see, that's the phlogiston escaping the wood. Whoa, what a magical world. So that's kind of where it was when a gentleman named Antoine Lavoisier comes along. And this is in the 1700s, and he is a chemist. Now, he's not just any chemist, though. He's an accountant/chemist. So he knew how to take really good numbers, just like any good science person would. And he, though, has a problem with the science understanding, namely phlogiston. He has an issue with it. And I'll tell you why. Because some of his experiments didn't measure up. So remember, phlogiston, it's leaving the log. There's more. So if you take something like iron ore, basically this dirty rock, and you heat it in the presence of charcoal, the phlogiston will enter the iron ore with the charcoal, and you have metal. That's from the phlogiston, folks. And then if you leave it out in the air, alone in the air and the water, eventually the phlogiston will escape. And that's why it turns orangey brown. That's calx, folks. And that's the phlogiston gone. Well, Antoine does experiments. He heats some material that's supposed to make the phlogiston escape, and he weighs it before he heats it, and he weighs it after when the phlogiston is gone, and it's heavier after he heats it. Now, wait a minute. How can it be heavier if the phlogiston has escaped? And this metal that rusted, as we now call it, this metal that had the phlogiston escape is now heavier. So he's pretty sure there's something about this. So something that has this calx or rust on the metal, and it's heavier now, even though the phlogiston left. He starts theorizing, I wonder if there's something in the air that is going into the substance I'm experimenting with or leaving it. What if there's something in the air? If that's true, that would mean air is not the basic building block. If air is multiple things. Well, he's trying lots of different experiments. And that is when he meets at a dinner party Joseph Priestley. And Joseph Priestley, he's here to have fun, guys. That's pretty much what he's doing. He's a preacher, but he loves to tinker. And the thing about Joseph Priestley was he would come up with the most outlandish ways to experiment, things that nobody else thought of. For example, he invented carbonated water. And you know how he did it? He was in an attic of a beer brewery. What was he doing there? No. He was in an attic of a beer brewery, and he had the idea to take 2 cups of water, and he dumped the water from one to the other. And he did that long enough that it started bubbling, and it was carbonated. He didn't know why, but it was cool. And that's the kind of experimentation he did. Well, he starts experimenting with this calx and this what we now call rust and these different, phlogiston experiments. Well, he tells Antoine, so I was doing this experiment where I had mercury. Remember mercury is that really interesting metal that is actually liquid at room temperature. He heated mercury really softly, and you can turn mercury into a powder. They called it the calx of mercury. And he took this calx powder and he burned it. And they would use these lenses they put in the sun, and it would focus the light, and he could burn it really hot. He burned it, but he had it in a glass container, and he captured the air that came off as he burned it. And being Joseph Priestley, he immediately thinks, how can I test this air? So he goes to a candle, and he puts it on a candle. Now, everybody knew that if you put a jar on a candle, then the candle will go out, because the phlogiston will be forced out of the candle. That was the explanation. So he puts this jar of his new air on the candle, and the moment he puts it on, the candle goes really bright. That's exciting. He looks around and he gets like a piece of glowing coal, well, not glowing, but hot, and he puts the jar on that. The coal starts to glow really bright. And this blows him away. So he starts thinking, man, what else could I test? I wonder what would happen if somebody breathed this. Hey, Jimmy, come in here. No, he went and got a mouse. And apparently he had already done some stuff with mice because he already knew that if you put a mouse under a jar, it takes about 15 minutes for the mouse to start going, So he puts it under this jar of the new air, and the mouse gets to 15 minutes. Mouse is fine. Gets to 20 minutes, fine. 30 minutes, the mouse is fine. He's blown away. Finally, he gets brave enough, crazy enough, whatever enough to try it, and he breathes it in. This new air. And he writes that he didn't taste anything different. He didn't feel like, a poison or anything. But he did notice, he felt kind of just, pumped up, like, man, I'm ready. And he even wrote, I think someday people will maybe put these in hospitals to help patients because it just makes you feel better, makes you feel more alive. So he's telling Antoine this, and Antoine's brain is like, clicking. He probably tried to play it chill. Oh, that's interesting. Right after the meeting, he goes back to his laboratory. He tells his wife, we're doing an experiment. We need some mercury. So they get some mercury, and Antoine starts doing the experiment. So the first thing he does, he's got to heat it up really softly and turn it into the powder. But this is Antoine. So he measures the exact amount of air in the container as he's heating up this mercury, turning it into the powder. As it turns into the powder, some of the air goes missing. Clue number one. Then he gets his sun lens out. His sun lens is this big. It's like a wagon. And we got to zoom in on him because he's wearing these shades in the 1700s. Science was cool back then too, okay? But he then uses his sun lens and he burns this powder. And of course, it gives off the new air that Priestley had told him about. But the gas it gives off is the same amount as the air that went missing. And he realizes he just proved that the air, something in the air went into it, and something from the air came back out. And he realized the air is made up of multiple things. I've just found something that's in the air, and it's just part of it. And he announces it. He publishes it. He doesn't publish on the Science Information System, but he publishes it, and he doesn't mention Joseph Priestley, which Priestley had some words to say about that. But he announces it, and he names it oxygen. And he would spend the next 15 years studying this, and he would go on to show that even water isn't a basic building block. Water can be broken down, and he proved water can be made by oxygen and this other element, which they would call hydrogen. Pretty incredible that two gases, you put them together and it turns into a liquid called water. And the big thing, though, is this would open up the whole new world of it's not just 4 basic elements. Nobody knows how many elements. And it started a race of how many elements are there, and the world of chemistry was transformed. So next time you start saying things like, I'm not a scientist, I'm not smart, all I have to say is that sounds like a bunch of phlogiston. Thank you.
Well, it's time for me to introduce the creator of Acellus, Dr. Roger Billings. A lot of you know him from his work in hydrogen energy, the first hydrogen car. A lot of you know his work in computers and work in networking. But maybe some of you may not know about all of his background in data security. Since back in the 1990s, he was patenting data security technology and innovations back before people realized how important it was going to become to secure all of these systems that now everyone realizes, wow, how important that is. And so we're really grateful for those technologies that are growing and growing. And when teachers and parents sign into Acellus, it's all secured and secured with that great technology. Well, please welcome Dr. Roger Billings.
We're on.
We're on. We're live.
We're
We
alive.
have hot mics.
It's because we've been breathing that oxygen of Toby's.
The phlogiston. I like that one.
That really was fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful new year at Acellus, and I too want to welcome all of the new students joining us. We have a record number of new enrollments this year, and we're so glad you guys are here. We've been missing you, haven't we? And I think it's going to be a wonderful year. Got a lot of things to talk about today, but I'd like to start out kind of covering some loose ends from last week. Last week we talked about this new experimental diet idea of mine. Remember, I call it the Catalytic Diet, and I told you how I found that it's making a difference in my own body, my own sugar levels, and I'm pretty excited about sharing that. I'm amazed how much mail that generated. How many of you typed in questions wanting to know about it? And I realized that we kind of went through it fast, and what we failed to do is give you a good understanding of how to do it. Now, I have to warn you that when you eat, you're giving your body everything that it gets to grow, to build itself, to give you energy, to help you empower your thinking and so forth. It's very important that you give your body a wide diversity of ingredients of food. And it's important that you get food from the different groups and so forth. And so as you look at this new diet, those of you that are experimenting with it, I want to make sure you realize that you want to have enough good, healthy food. And since this diet involves reducing the amount of protein, the amount of meat that most of us eat, you need to make sure you don't get carried away with it. If a little bit less is better, then none is great. No. You need to have that ideal amount of meat every week to give your body certain nutrients and ingredients that are very, very important to your health. If you don't have the 9 essential amino acids, for example, you can't build muscle and you can't do other things. So please do not hear me say what I'm not saying, which is you shouldn't eat meat. It's just that you don't need this much, you need this much. And to put that into something that's easier to understand, I asked Dr. Pajet Monet if she would explain in details that even I can understand
Oh my goodness, that's not how it works.
how we can eat if we want to experiment with this healthy diet.
Okay, before I start, we have a question. Yeah, we do. They're wondering, this is from our discussion last week, if it's just for diabetics or if it's for people who have certain kind of health illnesses or if it's for healthy people as well.
Well, that's a really good question. And yes, the people that can benefit from this diet are limited to one group of people. It's just people with red blood.
Okay. Don't look at me like
Now,
that.
her planet, I don't know what color it is.
We haven't shared
But
that part
if you
yet.
have red blood, then I think this will help. And remember, the basic thesis of this diet is that the body has within it a mechanism so that if you're getting too much carbs, too much sugary products in your body, that the body, instead of just always storing it as more and more and more fat, it has the ability to dump it like a spillway in a reservoir, so you don't have to build up all of that fat. And it is a great way to regulate our health. So it's a diet that should be, in my way of thinking, it should be for everyone. And I won't say that means you all have to do it. I'll just say that I believe it will help people. And really, if you want to get the long and short of the diet, I mean, the first thing that anyone should know, with whether they're doing this new catalytic diet or any diet, there are some things that just aren't good for you. I suggest you don't drink poison. And if you drink soda pop with a large amount of high fructose corn syrup, it's going to do you harm. Okay, it's been shown that it's just too much fructose for the body. And now clever people that are required by law to put the ingredients on the container have manipulated it so they don't say high fructose corn syrup. What are the ways they're saying it now?
Well, they're saying natural sweeteners.
Natural sweeteners. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful with that. Another thing you really want to avoid, for example, is something called trans fats. And a lot of people agree with those. I also think you got to be very careful with concentrated sugar. That mean like candy and things like that. And you also need to watch junk food. And to me, the real definition of junk food is something that some clever people made that has ingredients in it to make you think you just can't stop eating it. And things like fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, fibers, things like that are really good for you. So that having been said, now we can talk about this new catalytic diet. And in this diet, you eat good balanced diet of health and vegetables and all these different foods, but you eat a portion of meat that is smaller than some Americans eat. And Americans eat more meat than anybody else. It's because we have the best farmers in the world. And we have the meat, but we don't need to eat too much. If you eat too much meat, especially red meat, is very high in protein, and you get a protein overload in your body, and then it shuts down this mechanism of throwing out the extra sugar when you have too much. It's a simple thing, but it really, really seems to work. And I've been watching my sugar levels for the past week, and it continues to give me very, very good results. And I'm now able to eat things that I couldn't eat before. I had some wonderful apple pie, which I haven't had for years, and I had some ice cream with it, which I haven't had for even more years because I couldn't eat them. And now I can, and I'm seeing my levels stay in line. So it's not just for people that have become diabetic. It's for anyone that really, really wants to be healthy.
Okay.
Okay, does that answer that question?
Yeah.
Probably more answer than you wanted, but
No, it goes right
she's
in.
not in charge.
Really?
Or at least that's what she tells me
I'm
as
not.
she tells me what to do.
I'm not.
Okay, so tell us exactly how much protein, fats, and carbohydrates we should have.
Okay,
how
for
we
the
can do this.
example we want to use is for a 15-year-old going into 16 years. And so if we put up on the thing, so this comes right out of your Catalytic Diet.
Right, and so there's a little
Yeah.
pamphlet. This
Yeah.
is the back cover of it that you can get. If you want to go to rogerbillings.com, you can find this little pamphlet and download it, or you can even find a link to it on the Science Live page. But this chart tells you how much of which kind of food you need for each age group, each person. It's changing by the amount of calories that you need.
And it also depends on whether you're male or female as well.
I'm Mel.
Yes. So
You
you
can't
get
tell?
more food than
She
us.
can't
No.
tell.
But it does change.
Yeah, we get more
So-
food because, why do we get more food?
Because you guys are the hunter-gatherers.
We're the gather.
You think, I don't know, you tell me. I'm going to just step in away. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next slide.
The
Okay?
next slide, thank you.
Now that right there is what a typical day can look like. So you
Looks
have,
more like a food than a day.
yes, it looks like, this could be like this. Okay, so breakfast, you have up there bananas, fruit, yogurt. And in that, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to do the proportions you have of the 10% protein, 30% fat, and 60% carbohydrate.
Okay, so for, you're doing it for a 15-year-old person?
Yeah, 15 going to 16.
So for a 15-year-old person, average person, how much protein should they have? And you're looking on that little brochure of mine to get the number.
Yep.
And how many grams of protein is it for a 15-year-old?
So 58.
58 for a 15.
Yeah. But when you're going 16, so it jumps quite a
Okay.
bit between.
So what if we go to an 18-year-old person? How many grams
Well,
is it?
so that is 70.
70 grams.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of protein depends on how big you are, and bigger
And how
people,
you're growing.
older people, fast-growing people should eat more.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go back to, can we do 16 years old?
Yeah, that would be good.
All right, 16 years old. How many grams of protein?
For a male, it's 70,
70. For a lady,
58.
58.
Yeah, kind of different, isn't it?
Now that is an average,
Mm-hmm.
and it can change by how active you are and so forth. But just think about that: 70
Yep.
and 58.
Yes.
So that means that 10% of the energy that you're getting from your food is coming from protein. And let's just focus on the guy number. And by the
Okay.
way, these numbers vary from person to person. So even if the girls are the same as the guys, it'd be pretty darn close.
Yeah, it
So
would be.
let's focus on the guys for a
Okay.
minute. So you eat 70 grams of protein, which means 10% of your energy is coming from protein. And protein would be foods like
Meat, nuts, legumes, so beans and peas and
eggs.
eggs.
A lot of foods that are high
a
in
little
those.
bit of milk
Okay,
and cheese.
so we're going to go for 70 grams
Yeah.
from protein. How much fat is the ideal amount of fat to consume?
93 grams.
93.
It sounds
So
like a ton.
we're
but
getting
it's not.
10% of our energy from protein. We're getting 30% from fat. So it seems like it should be 3 times 70,
It does.
except fat is more dense in the energy it holds. So you only need how many grams of fat?
You need 93 grams.
93 if you're 16 years old, okay? Now, fat comes in a lot of varieties. Some fats are better than others. For example, unsaturated fats, mono and
poly.
polyunsaturated fats are really good for you. But the important thing on this diet is, of all the fats that you consume, keep it in about that limit. So 30% of your energy is coming from fats. So if you're eating 70 of protein, of meats and so forth, then you're going to have 93 of fat. Now what about carbs?
420.
And carbohydrates, you have 420 grams. So that's where you're going to get most of your energy. And what are carbohydrates?
Bread, pasta, fruits, vegetables, and just
So
little
this
bits of
carbohydrates are things like sugar,
yeah,
things like flour, things like that. So you can have a lot of nice things.
einkorn.
But the secret of this diet is to keep it in that ratio.
Yeah.
Some people cut out all the carbohydrates and they do just a keto diet. They just mainly the protein. Some are doing all sugar. And it turns out that if this is kind of balanced, it seems to work. So give us some more details.
Okay. They said if I went like this, that means next slide. Ah. Okay, we'll do that one. So this is what a lot of Americans eat right here. It is.
That's food.
That looks like food, doesn't it? Yeah. It has carbohydrates. It has protein. It has fat.
Good, that's what we need.
Yes. However, if you look very closely, those chicken nuggets are deep fried. So the fat that they are made in is not very healthy for our bodies. Yeah.
So they're probably fried in olive oil.
Oh, in heavens, no.
It depends on the kind of oil that
It
you fry
does.
them in, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. Next one. This one is the watchful one. So on that is all of the delicious things that makes us excited and what we call food. But it really isn't, because food is something that nourishes our body. And this is the sweets and the treats that we could have once in a while. But inside of these are what is high fructose corn syrup. A lot of high fructose corn syrup is put into that, and trans fat. Trans fat raises your LDL cholesterol, lowers your HDL, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this because around here there's a word that is special. It's called hydrogen. So what happens with this is if you look on the ingredient label, so you guys get to become your own sleuth. You get to start discovering what is in your food. But if you see the word partially, that should be a red flag. If you see partially hydrogenated, it has the word hydrogen in it, then that means they have messed it up, and it's not good.
So now, wait a minute.
I knew it was
Did you
gonna
just
happen.
bash
I
hydrogen?
did. I thought, am I going to do it?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So hydrogen is a very nice gas.
It's a very nice gas.
But somebody found out that oil is expensive, and they need a lot of oil to cook things at fast food restaurants and that, and it's expensive. It became a big expense.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody thought, what if we could make that oil last longer, go further? We could make a lot of money. And they found out that if you take oil and you hydrogenate it, in other words, you cook it with hydrogen going through it, sometimes on a catalyst, that the oil will increase in volume to double or 3 times the volume of the starting oil, and it makes very cheap oil per gallon, and so it became very popular. But they found out that it's not a very good fat, and I would suggest you avoid it. Keep the hydrogen. Don't use it for hydrogenation.
Drink the hydrogen water, huh?
But now, going back to those sweets, this diet isn't saying you can't eat sweets. It is saying that the amount of carbohydrates that you should have for your diet is about what? For 16?
420.
420. That's a lot of carbs. But it says if you're eating concentrated sugar, also known as candy, that it'd be very, very easy to get too much sugar. So one of the things that I like is M&Ms. And I like them because they're little, and you can have one a day, and you probably won't overload your sugar too much.
Who has one a day?
It's so much about portions. There's nothing wrong with meat. In fact, it's very good and healthy for us. But you need to cut it down to just 70 grams if you're a 16-year-old boy. And we're eating sometimes 3, 4, even 5 times that in one meal, and that's not good. But the concentrated sugar is dangerous because just a little teeny bit is a lot of carbs, and it knocks you clear off. And there are a lot of other things that your body wants with the carbs. For example, if you get some of your sugar, some of your carbohydrates from eating fruit, you get fiber.
Yes.
And fiber is so important to your digestion and your health system. And so fruits and vegetables are sure a good thing. Now, we have sweet teeth. Actually, we start out with sweet teeth, and first thing, they all fall out because we eat too many sweets. So then we get permanent teeth. But we really need to control the amount of sugar that we eat. We need to control the meat. We don't need to eliminate it. We can't live without carbohydrates, so we just need to balance it. And if you really want to do this, look at the meat. Now, I had a beef steak last night, and I calculated what my ideal grams of protein were for the day, and I got a beef steak that was little. It was like 3.5 ounces, and it was about right for me. You can get a steak at some of our fancy restaurants that are 10 times that. I mean, those are crazy. Most of them, though, are about double or triple of what we should have. So it's really about how much. And you want to avoid some things. But you can have some ice cream, and you can have a very small amount of these other things you like. And, you know, if you really adhere to that, you can start really enjoying your treats more because they're more special.
And then if you look at the serving size on the ice cream per se, it's half a cup. If you see half a cup for a guy who really, I mean, it's 2 bites. For a girl, it should be 4 bites. But it tells you the portion size there. And when you start really learning what it is, you start changing what you're going to have for the day.
Well, that sure explains everything to me. I thought you're supposed to eat the whole container.
A pint of ice cream.
Okay, good.
So the slide I want to go to now is the one with all the colors. This excites me because I think it's fantastic that we live on an earth like this and we put seeds in the ground and we water it and somehow all the different types and species of food come out. And
Of the same dirt.
Of the same dirt.
All
And
because of the DNA in the seed. Isn't that amazing?
it really gets me going. And if you look at that red, I mean, this is general, but red. So we're talking about strawberries and radishes and peppers and tomatoes. It has chemicals in it that help the heart. It helps our circulatory system. Now, green is
that why
interesting.
the heart's red? Must be.
Must be. That must be why love is red. No, I don't know. Is love red? Did you just do that?
I'm off camera. I'm safe.
So am I. Look at that. I just stepped in the green.
Okay, we're having a breakdown here.
This is called Science
Cut
Live.
to commercial.
Okay. Green. See all this green right here? These all are called herbs. And herbs are magical. And what they do in general is they help clean our blood. And every single herb does something different. Some helps with stomach issues, but in general, the green really helps clean our blood. And when you start eating really healthy, and you want to reduce the amount of salt you're putting on your food, because sometimes we're a little heavy, every single one of these has flavor in it. And I wish I could just put the smell out to you, because it is fantastic. But
So how's this going to improve our grades?
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Where is it? Okay, right here.
That was not scripted.
There are studies that if you smell rosemary, that helps your concentration. Look it up yourself. It says that. I'm not making it up. But they have chemicals in rosemary that does that.
And when you eat right, you feel your best.
You do.
And when you feel your best, your brain works much better.
Yes.
As does everything.
Yellow. I don't see yellow on my thing. Oh, there's. It boosts immune system. Orange is good for vision and, well, this one I'm not sure it counts, but there's purple on it, which is, it's tarragon. It's lavender. It's just amazing. It is amazing. And you can put lavender in your food, and it's really exciting. You can make your own tarragon vinegar. Once you start just finding out what these foods can do, in every single individual house, you can start making your own things. You can start experimenting. Do you want to know a fun fact?
This is the first time I ever knew weeds were wonderful.
Dandelions are amazing. The
Yes.
dandelion roots and they're laughing at me out there. And the leaves have potassium in them. And it's a natural diet. You don't want to get me going.
Time out.
So,
Just time out.
okay.
Time out. So we have a fridge. And I went in there to get something out of the fridge, and there was some soda pop in my fridge.
No.
And I thought, wow. And I grabbed the can, and I looked at the label, and it said, Dandelion Soda Pop.
Did it say soda pop?
It said Dandelion. And so I knew it wasn't mine, but I got permission. I said, is this pretty good? Oh, yeah. Can I try some? Oh, sure. It's not good. Don't fall for that.
So what happens is when you start, not you, but when I started this journey, which has probably been a good 5 years, because I was a girl who liked all the coffee with her cream, and I liked it sweet. Now I drink.
People on our planet aren't this big at 5.
Yeah. When I started drinking it black and changing my taste, I started discovering food on a whole different level, because I started finding that food has very distinct flavors. And when you cover it up with so much sweet, you don't get to taste it. You don't get to enjoy it. And
So there you go.
I'm not finished. Guess what?
What?
So, in a couple
Guess
of
what?
weeks, so what everybody can do out there, we can reset our tastes. And our taste buds start dying off and coming back in about 2 weeks. Yeah. So when you start down this process of really finding out what real food tastes like, it takes about 3 months for it to really change. But you can change. I used to like things really sweet. Now I drink dandelion stuff. Now it could be a little better. But if you know what the food does for you, then you can enjoy it.
Someday maybe she'll like me, and I'm sure not sweet.
So my last slide, before I show it, I was so excited about this diet. I still am, by the way. And it has been a journey, because I started realizing that I was enjoying a few too many carbs. Oh, I can have carbs, but then I realized I can have carbs. There are serving sizes, and when you start finding out how much is in a serving, some things are shocking. I mean, you have a bagel and you smother that 1 inch of cream cheese on there, all that butter. You've had your fat for the day. Speaking of fat, I was so excited because before this, I was doing what I would call low carb. And so I had quite a bit more fat than I'm having now, and I had quite a bit more meat than I'm having now in protein, which has changed. But then I thought, oh, look at this. This is a Pajet treat. So this is chocolate, walnuts, and strawberries. And so I was so excited. If you show people how excited I was, the big Pajet. And then I
Is
realized
this scripted?
that's how much fat I get a day. It is no joke. So right here, this right here, for me, is 42% of fat, right there. 2 squares of chocolate and 14 almonds equals 40% of my allotted fat a day. And I was like, oh, I can learn how to do that. Now, if you take this basil with strawberry, it's an amazing flavor. You can start learning how to put things together, and things you would never, ever think go together do. And I think this diet is going to help us rediscover the health and what it means to really be healthy. I think it's going to make our minds more clear. It's going to make us happier. It's going to make us nicer people. And it is a process. And you laugh, but how many times have you been grouchy this week? Not you. The ones in the audience.
Okay, so you don't have to be a Paget to do this diet.
No.
But if you do the things she's saying, you'll become a Paget.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, happened to her, happened to you. But if you just watch your meat and watch your highly concentrated sweets, avoid the junk food, you're going to feel better.
Yeah.
And exercise.
You have to move.
And get good rest. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we need to move on because we're running a little short on our time. So I want to tell you about what's happening next week.
Okay.
Next week I won't be here
I won't either.
because I will be in San Diego, California, attending the banking conference. And there at the banking conference, I'm going to be launching a new company initiative. We're getting a lot of scholarships. I thought I better get back to work, in the day job. And so I wanted to see if I can show you this image. Can we catch this?
I think we have to hold it up.
There
here.
it is. No, we can't. All right. I could
Take a picture. You could hold it up.
I could hold it up. I'll show you pictures later, but here in my wallet, I have 2 keys, 2 gold keys. This is an old one, and this is the brand new kind that we're just launching. A lot of your parents are using gold keys to sign into Acellus. A lot of your teachers are using gold key. And very soon, I'm going to be offering gold keys to all of our students because it's a way to really secure the internet and protect you. One of the things that we're going to be showing at this conference next week is this gold key. This gold key is actually like a card, like a credit card size, only inside is our electronics, which allows it to be able to secure your internet connections. This card, if you put it close to your phone, connects with your phone by radio waves and can be used to lock your account so that you cannot be hacked. Especially important if you're doing things like online banking and that, where someone could get a hold of your account, or if you're doing something like studying and someone would break in and mess up with your data. So we'll be talking about that next time, because Gold Key is a very, very important technology. I want to tell you just a little story about Gold Key. Now, the earlier version, which wasn't quite as fancy, but which we launched over a decade ago, was unveiled at a national cybersecurity conference. And I was there at the exhibit, and people were going up and down the aisle. And all of a sudden, a military contingent came marching. They weren't marching, but they came down the aisle. And it was a general with a whole bunch of not generals kind of marching with him. And they came up to the booth, and he wanted to see the Gold Key. He wanted to know about it. He asked a lot of questions. So I started explaining to him, well, this is a Gold Key. And he said, so this is what we need to protect our military installations. And this was early on in Gold Key. And I said, well, I think for military, you're going to need stronger security than what I'm doing with Gold Key. And he said, Roger, what stronger security is there than this? And I realized he was right. This is an advancement in security. And so he ended up buying a lot of Gold Keys, and especially the United States Navy, save their ships, have been using Gold Keys, and we're really, really grateful for that. Well, next week we're going to be launching Gold Key to the banking community, and it'll be interesting to see how well they receive it. When people start using Gold Keys to sign into their online banking accounts, they're going to be a lot safer. And what do I mean by safer? We have an epidemic right now of account takeovers. That's where someone hacks into your banking account online and they take your money out. And it's really a serious problem, and it's growing in seriousness very, very quickly. I was at the bank a couple months ago, and there was a lovely lady there whose account had been taken over. Once they got inside the account, they changed her date of birth, they changed her address, they changed her sign-in password so she couldn't get in, and the bank didn't know what to do because they couldn't identify her, they didn't really know her, and it was a real mess. So this is a new initiative and project, and Gold Key is one of my real serious projects. I believe that Gold Key is going to be a very, very major security. I think in 10 years, a very significant number of you will be using Gold Keys. And once you have your Gold Key as a student or as a parent, you'll be able to go to all sorts of websites all over and sign in with Gold Key, and you won't have to remember usernames and passwords anymore because they're just not secure.
That's really exciting.
Mm-hmm. Now, we're real short on time, but I wanted to just, as a courtesy, give one brief minute to R51. He had something he wanted to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Area 51. I'm R51, and I'm in charge here. And with me today is my teacher, the lovely Dr. Pajet Monet. And Dr. Monet, I have this special apple for you. Students, if you have a teacher and you want to really make her like you, then you give her an apple. So this apple's for you. Paige, I'll put it right here for you so you can enjoy that apple. There you go. See how happy she is now? She really, really likes it. And what? Can you hear what she's saying? She wants to become an official member of Area 51. So I'm going to initiate her right now. I've got her an official R51 hat. She looks really nice in that hat, doesn't she? And we're going to give her an official Area 51 title. Here it is. It's going to be Pajet 51. There, boy, look how happy she is now. So we've got to get around to today's business. First of all, I want you to know I have won a very, very big award. Look at this. This is the gold award from the International Science Fair. Mr. R51, first place for my invention. What do you think about that? Stop it! Oh, you guys, stop it! Oh, Lady Paget, I really like you. 51, what are you doing? Well, I was just telling all of the students about how I was selected as one of the outstanding scientists. You weren't selected for that award? Are you sure you're the one that won that? Yes. Are you absolutely positive that it was you that won it? Yes. So how did you win that award? Well, I invented something really big. Something wonderful to change the whole world. And what was that? It was giant gold key. I invented the giant gold key. You invented the giant gold key? Yeah, I invented the giant gold key. Do you want to see it? Look here. Here it is. It's portable. It's got a carrying case. It's the giant gold key. I show you how you just take the zipper and you go around like this, and it opens up, and there it is, the giant gold key. See that? You can take this key, and you can do really amazing things with it. Oh, yeah? What exactly can you do with it? Well, I can take this gold key, and I can... And you can do what? And I can use this gold key to unlock Lady Paget's heart. Her heart has been unlocked, and now she's happy. Mr. R51, I think you're delusional. You are really crazy. Thank you. That's such a nice thing coming from you and everything. No wonder the kids like me. Kids, I won this award. What do you think about that? Oh, stop it! Stop it! No, that's no. Stop. Did you hear that?
Oh, 51. You are so amazing.
That's naughty.
So stay tuned to learn more about Gold Key next time, okay?
R51 sent this for you.
Oh, he sent it back, did he? Thank you. Well, welcome back. What is that?
That's your award from the 10 Outstanding Young Men of America.
Oh, I thought that was his.
No, that's your award.
Oh, okay.
Are we having Science Live next week?
Of course we are.
Of course we are. There you go.
Of course we are, but I'm going to be broadcasting in from California.
Yeah.
So don't miss it. But don't worry, Joseph will be here with his jokes.
So
Johnny will be here with his excitement, and Tobias will have his scary, thrilling stories.
So was the apple pie that you ate full of sugar?
Full of sugar?
Mm-hmm.
The apple pie I ate had sugar, small amount, and it was made with a crust of einkorn wheat.
I thought you cheated.
Einkorn wheat is wonderful, and it had some honey. Honey's a wonderful sweetener.
Yeah, but
and it was really good, cinnamon.
It wasn't like normal apple pie. It wasn't like the
What?
store-bought apple pie.
What?
Just so you guys know.
And
it
so
was
we'll
a
see you all
real
next
treat.
time. Bye-bye.